Ryan Gravenberch has been one of Liverpool's best players under Arne Slot so far, and one could even argue that he's been one of the best three holding midfielders in the Premier League this season. Yeah, he's been good on and off the ball, but there's a scary truth about Ryan Gravenberch that nobody's noticing. We're here to let you in on that big secret, but as always, let's start from the beginning. Gravenberch was born in the Netherlands, and he started playing football at the tender age of 7, joining the youth team of Dutch club Zeeburgia in 2009. He was there for just 1 year, before he moved to the biggest club in the country, Ajax. He was just 8 years old when he joined Ajax's youth academy, but he was a fast learner, quickly making his way up the ranks. Not long after he turned 16 in 2018, he won the award for being the best talent in the Ajax academy that year. People say that it was because of him that the award was created, because that was the first time the club ever gave out the award. And 2018 was his breakout year. Not long after winning that award, he made his first team debut. And you know how you know Gravenberch was a big deal then? He didn't make his debut against a third division side in a cup game or something. He made his debut in an Eredivisie game against rivals and reigning champions at the time, PSV. When he came off the bench in that game, he was just 16 years and 130 days old, which meant that he became the youngest player to ever represent Ajax in the history of the Eredivisie, surpassing the record of the great Clarence Seedorf by 112 days. That right there was a real teenage sensation. At the time, he was already seen as the future of both Ajax and the Netherlands national team. And we wish to say it was happy ever after from then on, but it wasn't. From being one of the best and most promising prospects to come out of the Ajax academy, Ryan Gravenberch soon started to carry the label of the worst player ever. However, that was much later though, and we'll get to that soon. But the immediate period after his first team debut was quite rosy. I mean, he didn't make any other appearance in the Eredivisie that season, but that one cameo against PSV was enough to earn him a winner's medal when Ajax were crowned champions at the end of the season. So, he was already a league champion as a 16-year-old. What could go wrong? A lot. And that was not even all. He also won the KNVB Cup, which meant that he completed the domestic double as a 16-year-old kid under Erik ten Hag. How many footballers in the history of the sport can boast of this? His future was certainly very bright. The next season, he was a bit more involved. After a run to the semi-finals of the Champions League in the 2018-19 season, big clubs around Europe came to buy several Ajax players, leaving room for some of the younger players to shine. Matthijs de Ligt, Rasmus Christensen, Kasper Dolberg, and more players left that summer. But as far as Gravenberch was concerned, the exits that opened some space for him in the first team were that of Lasse Schön and Frenkie de Jong. With those two midfielders gone, Ten Hag decided to give Gravenberch a shot, and he was quickly impressed. He gave the teenager his first Eredivisie start in December 2019 in a game against ADO Den Haag. And guess what? Gravenberch rewarded the coach's faith in him with a goal and an assist. And you know what was truly interesting about that game? In the other first-team games before that one, Gravenberch had been strictly employed as a centre midfielder. But that day, he started the game as a defensive midfielder and went on to drop a masterclass. In the next game, he started as a defensive midfielder again and put up another masterclass, scoring in back-to-back games. A truly impressive feat for a 17-year-old playing deep in midfield. From that point, Gravenberch became a starter. He even started the Europa League knockout game against Getafe, but sadly Ajax were not able to get past the Spanish outfit. Still, Gravenberch had now established himself as a regular in the first team, but he was still more of a centre midfielder than anything. Maybe he should have been converted to a defensive midfielder then, but as it appears, it wasn't time yet. Unfortunately, just when he was getting into his groove, the season was cut short due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Dutch league did not resume later like the Premier League, La Liga and others. The rest of the season was just cancelled. Ajax were top of the table at the time the league was halted, and that was almost certainly going to be another league medal for Gravenberch at just 17 years of age. But the league just had to be cancelled. Damn! With the levels he'd reached that season, everyone just knew that the 2020-21 season was going to be special for him. And it was. Despite being just 18 years old, Gravenberch was now an established first-team player. He played 32 games that season, starting 31 of them. The only 2 games he missed was because he was down with the coronavirus. And in those 32 league games he played, he managed 3 goals and 5 assists. He also made his UEFA Champions League debut that season, and in that same campaign, he got his first ever Champions League goal, which came in the group stage game against Midfield. He would go on to complete his second domestic double at the age of 18, helping Ajax win both the Eredivisie and the KNVB Cup. Speaking of the KNVB Cup, he was one of Ajax's most important players in that campaign, even opening the scoring in the final against Vitesse. This same season, he earned his first call-up to the Netherlands senior team, debuting in March 2021 in a World Cup qualifier against Turkey. He would then earn a call-up to the Euros that summer, scoring his first senior national team goal in the warm-up game against Georgia. At this point, teams around Europe began to grow in interest in the kid. At 18, he was already being closely monitored by some of the biggest clubs in the world. He went into the 2021-22 season in the same form in which he finished the last campaign. He played 30 league games and had 7 goal contributions, which helped Ajax successfully defend their Eredivisie crown. At that point, Bayern Munich felt they'd seen enough, so they reached a €23 million agreement with Ajax and brought him over to Bavaria. He was 20 years old, playing for the biggest club in Germany and one of the biggest teams on the planet. It was a dream come true, but that dream very quickly turned into a nightmare. Yes, a nightmare. But pause. We're sure you've been enjoying this video so far, so take a second to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this. Back to Gravenberch's nightmare. You see, when he moved to Bayern, it was like he started his career all over again from the beginning. This guy went from starting Champions League games for Ajax to barely cracking the first 11 for Bayern. Obviously, it was a bigger club, and he would not break into the team easily. But his guy, who was labelled one of the best young midfielders in the world, was only able to start 3 Bundesliga games at Bayern Munich. That season, he only managed 2 goal contributions, and both came in a cup game. Simply put, it was a bad season. This kid, who was so highly rated in Ajax, saw his stocks drop drastically in just 1 year. Many people said that happened because the big stage swallowed him. They said that he was in his comfort zone at Ajax and just was simply not good enough for a big club like Bayern Munich. In just 1 year, Bayern fans were done with him. The club was done with him too, and they were ready to sell. But who was going to buy this seemingly failed youngster? Which big club was ready to take the risk on him? Certainly not Liverpool. Liverpool had their eyes on much bigger things. They were in a transitional phase, which meant that they were saying goodbye to 5 senior midfielders in 1 summer. Fabinho, Jordan Henderson, Naby Keita, James Milner and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain all said goodbye to the Reds in 2023. So, what they were looking for were established midfielders who'd proven themselves at the top level. They were going after Jude Bellingham, Moises Caicedo and Romeo Lavia, not scrubs like Ryan Gravenberch who couldn't crack it in the Bundesliga. But all the midfielders they tried to get rejected them, and seeing as they were desperate for some midfield reinforcement ahead of the 2023-24 season, they ended up reluctantly buying Gravenberch on the final day of the summer transfer window. They paid €40 million for him, and everyone, Bayern Munich fans especially, said that Liverpool got fleeced. And we'll be honest, after his first season in England, it looked like they were right. He started 13 Premier League games and only managed 1 goal, the one against Fulham. He was nothing more than a squad player for Jurgen Klopp. He wasn't trusted for the big games, but he was one of the first names on the team sheet for those Europa League group games. To show you how secondary he was to Klopp's plans, he started 5 of Liverpool's 6 Europa League group games, but did not play a single minute in the knockout rounds. At this point, people who'd followed Gravenberch's career from Ajax were already calling it the biggest fall-off ever. He had more or less failed under Julian Nagelsmann, Thomas Tuchel and Jurgen Klopp, 3 top coaches by all standards. Having seen all this, even some of his most loyal supporters started to give up hope. Liverpool fans had already lost hope in him, the club too. So, in the summer of 2024, the club went in search of further midfield reinforcements. The number one name on their wish list was Real Sociedad's Martin Zubimendi. He just impressed in the Euros final after he came on for Rodri, and the new coach Arne Slot thought he would fit perfectly into his system. Liverpool tried to get him, and honestly, at some point everyone thought they would. But Zubimendi decided to take the loyalty route, ultimately rejecting Liverpool to remain at his boyhood club. After that rejection, Liverpool didn't bother going for any other midfielder. Now, you guys know the saying that goes, necessity is the mother of invention? Yeah, that became very true of Liverpool as they went into the new season. Since Fabinho left, Liverpool had not had a proper holding midfielder. Thiago Alcantara was still in the squad after Fabinho's exit, but he was never fit, so they were still lacking in that position, which is why Liverpool tried desperately to sign Caicedo, Lavia and Zubimendi, all of whom are highly rated holding midfielders. Thiago then left in 2024, so Liverpool were going into this new season and a new era with just one defensive midfielder on their books, and that one was a stopgap solution who was already in his 30s. This forced Slot to look inward and make do with what he had. It felt like he went back into the archives and watched tapes of those masterclasses Gravenberch put up when he played in defensive midfield for Ajax, so he decided to run it back. First game of the season, he started Gravenberch as the defensive midfielder. The result? A great performance. His passing was good, he made vital tackles, won duels, and even carried the ball into the final third when needed. But people said it was just newly promoted Ipswich, so it didn't count. How did Gravenberch respond? He went and put up another good performance against Brentford, but people still refused to see the light. What finally turned people into believers was the Man United game. It was a huge game, the lights were bright, and Gravenberch rose to the occasion. He bossed the midfield and was everywhere that day. He won 7 of his 10 duels, made 4 interceptions and 2 tackles, and wasn't dribbled past once all game. He even created what would have been the opening goal of the game, carrying the ball from midfield to attack. But unfortunately, the goal was disallowed for offside. As we said, the lights that day were so bright, and under those bright lights, fans could not tell if they were watching Ryan Gravenberch or Fabinho. It felt like the Dutchman had redefined and repackaged himself into the Fabinho replacement the team had been looking for. But what's scary about Gravenberch right now is that even with how good prime Fabinho was for Liverpool, the Dutchman could be an upgrade. Remember, he's still just 22 years of age, and with his experience playing further up the pitch, he could do his defensive midfield duties while also significantly contributing to the attack. In the areas of ball striking, passing, and ball carrying, he looks like he could very well eclipse Fabinho in the coming seasons. Oh, how Liverpool fans would love to see that happen. So, you see, sometimes rejection can turn out to be a huge blessing. We're certain that Liverpool fans are so happy that Zubimendi rejected them, because it forced them to look inward and discover the perfect Fabinho replacement. And even the Netherlands have started benefiting from this. In the first international break of the new season, Gravenberch played the full 90 minutes for the national team for just the second time in his entire career in the Nations League game against Bosnia. Then he went on to play the full 90 minutes against Germany, even registering an assist against the 4-time world champions. So, after all, that little wonder kid from the Ajax Academy is turning out to be the future of the Netherlands, just in a slightly different position. With Gravenberch now growing into a very fine defensive midfielder, one of the best in the country, there seems to be nothing stopping Liverpool from going on to win more trophies and further establishing themselves as the most successful club in England. And if you want to know how the Reds became England's most successful football club, click our video to find out. Thanks for watching. Give the video a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it.